The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think
He missed the complete. That is crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
The Australian raceabout started in Bathurst, moved to Phillip Island, and wrapped up at Oran Park, where a Portuguesa was played at the podium ceremony for a second consecutive time. A pair of rookies could not capitalize on their front row starting position, and the serene Slovene quietly positioned himself to challenge for the championship. The series now returns to the land of the rising sun for the final 3 races of the season. Which driver will be next to make the headlines? We'll find out in less than an hour when the checkered flag falls on Suzuka East. You're watching the Global Sim Racing Channel, and its coverage of the Tidal Influence MX-5 World Tour begins now.
They hail from around the globe, and though separated by oceans, they gather in the virtual world to battle, to compete, to race. Whether they're former champions looking to regain the title, new and eager hopefuls driving for glory, or legends in their own time preparing to dominate, they're all here for one reason alone: to win. Today we'll find out whose name will be forever etched into the record books. You're watching the Tidal Influence MX-5 World Tour.
Hello and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Tidal Influence MX-5 World Tour, race number 10 from beautiful Suzuka International Racing Course, located on the island nation of Japan. I'm your host, Bill Soup Zahn. With me today in the booth is the youthful sage, Ayrton Ellis. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is our director, Joe Peak, and the camera locations have been provided by, as always, Dougie Beard. Bathurst had the big one. Phillip Island had a great one, and the Australian raceabout wrapped up with a relatively small field of 17 drivers taking the grid at Oran Park, where Sergio Mora worked his way up from a 5th place starting position to record his 2nd consecutive win and 9th career victory, placing him only behind legendary Jan Koemans on the all-time win list. Ayrton, the season opened here at Suzuka, but that was on the big Grand Prix circuit. Today, the weather is a very nice 73 degrees with a track temperature of 100. Winds at the mild winds 6 degrees from the west, so it should be good for racing today. The drivers will be attacking this shorter east configurations. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this layout?
Thanks, Bill. Well, this layout, it basically cuts the track in half from the full Grand Prix circuit. It's about 1.4 miles or 2.2 kilometers and has 9 turns, including those tricky S's at the beginning of the track. There aren't many passing opportunities either, because just turn 1 there, you got there, and that cutoff section between after the S's and the final corner. So it should be an interesting race for these guys. They have 43 laps to go. We also have a track lap for you guys to watch.
Alright, we've got Richard Losper behind the wheel of the GSRC MX-5, so let's do a lap around Suzuka East. Turn 1 flows directly into Turn 2 on this course, so if any passes are going to happen at this spot, drivers will want to be fully alongside. Even then, expect one of them to have to back out of the defense or attack by Turn 2. As you drift out at the exit, you want to get the car back over to the right to set up for the S's, which make up a majority of the lap. Since most of the corners simply require a bit of lifting, there's very little in the way of passing opportunities. Like most S sections, it's all a matter of setting the car up for the next subsequent corner. Get offline and you'll be all out of sorts. And with the lack of chances to overtake, anyone stuck behind you will be ready to pounce in a flash the second you make that mistake. Now, as you approach the connector for the East Circuit, you want to just clip that inside curb, let the car scrub off speed, and get the nose pointed where you want. Turning the car and putting the power down is going to be critical, because getting a bad run out of the final corner is going to open yourself up to attack down the front stretch. Drivers will certainly be desperate for any whiff of a weakness, so you'll need to be perfect around here. But now, you've finished a very short lap around Suzuka East.
You're looking at Sam McAleer there in pit lane. He'll be starting in the front row, just outside of Carlos Torres, who will be on the pole. But right now, it's time to take a look at the point standings. As we do, keep in mind that Japan is the home of the samurai, famously depicted in the 1956 film The Seven Samurai, which was later adapted into one of the greatest westerns of all time, the 1960 release of The Magnificent Seven, one of my favorite movies. Now, I'm sure you're all asking me, Soup, what does all this have to do with the points championships? Well, let me tell you. Just like the cast of The Magnificent Seven, one by one, drivers are being removed from the championship plot. Those pretty boy hotshot rookies we all were so taken with at the beginning of the season, they're all gone now. Only Marcello Pajan remains up there. But he's here today, and we're glad to see him back. Everyone's French heartthrob, Evan Maillard, now out of the picture. Sure, he has lots of points, but if you look at the standings there, he has not met the 50% race requirement to be eligible to win an Oscar. So he sits 33rd in the hearts and minds of the Academy voters. Now John Deuce Allen in 8th. He's played the role of the comic sidekick, but it's not taken seriously as a threat for the crown. Dave Galink has been ridden out of the plot in the first act, and Carlos Torres, Sam McAleer, Amjad Yaman are all soon to go the way of Robert Vaughn, James Colburn, and Charles Bronson. Nobody knows those last three names I just mentioned. Only 3 drivers remain with the chance to play in the role of Yul Brenner or Steve McQueen. Now, there's somebody you should know. They are the points leader Richard Eklund, Juris Jelenko in 2nd, and Sergio Mora in 3rd. Now, if you haven't seen The Magnificent Seven, you can rent it and see it right away. But if you want to know how the plot for the Season 9 championship of the Tidal Influence MX-5 World Tour is going to turn out, you're going to have to wait 3 more races. Ayrton, I bet you don't know much about The Magnificent Seven, but something I know you know a lot about is the keys to the race, sponsored by Mountaintop Cabin Rentals.
Thanks, Bill. Well, definitely the biggest one, I think, in my opinion, is going to be lap traffic. There's, as I said on the track guide, there's only going to be one real passing zone. That's turn 1. You can make it somewhere else if someone makes a mistake, but turn 1 is the number 1 place where if you get a run on that front stretch, you got to make the move. And with a big field of 25 on this shorter layout, it should be tricky for these fast guys to get around those lap cars if they don't want to give way. And because of that one passing opportunity, these guys, especially for the battle for the lead, are going to have to make that one run that they get out of that final corner worth it to get into that lead if they want to make a move for this race. Also, another factor, as always, is pit stops. These little MX-5s are fueled to a lower amount from the 100%, so they're going to have to make at least 1 pit stop throughout the race. I don't know if they'll take tires this race since it's a shorter layout, only 1 minute around this track, but it'll be interesting if they do, so those are the keys to the race.
Yeah, pit stops are always interesting as Juris Jelenko always likes to take two probably in this race he's going to take 2 left side tires, so it's going to be interesting to see what he does in comparison with Eklund, as those guys are our top 2 competitors for the championship. But right now, it's time to do the phrase that pays. Viewers, here's something we've been doing all season, the Tidal Influence phrase that pays. The first viewer to email me in after one of the announcers says the phrase that pays that you see on the screen right now gets added to the end of the season lottery with a chance to win $50. So when you hear the phrase that pays, which I'm not going to say right now, shoot me an email at tiphrasethatpays@aol.com. Make sure you leave your name so we can mention the winner at the end of the broadcast. And last week's winner was Jeroen Ursum, who actually raced in the race, but nobody paid attention to the phrase that pays last week, and Jeroen actually emailed in about 24 hours after the race and picked up a little extra chance. So all you guys, I know a lot of you guys, there's some drivers who aren't here today that you're all watching. Make sure you email it in. Get that chance to win that extra chance for the lottery at the end. And it looks like we have about a minute and a half to go before we start the gridding. Ayrton, take a look at this at the practice times there. Who do you like today for a winner?
Well, I don't think you can really root against Richard Eklund. He's definitely very fast, and as he's flipping into pit lane. But hopefully he doesn't do that during the race, of course. But yeah, he's looking very fast. He's looking really strong so far this season. Of course, that championship contender, Juris Jelenko, as you said, during the standings, he's only 36 points back. He's definitely going to have to get ahead for this race in order to have a chance at that championship.
Now, we still have a little more time, but we can talk about the quick 6. We're not able to bring the graphic up yet, but we can tell you who's on the pole. and that's Carlos Torres. Now, Carlos Torres is a Colombian driver, very consistent, you know, really races under the radar. He reminds me of like the B student in class, the girl who always does her homework and never causes any trouble, and you don't pay attention to her, and she forgets to be invited to the prom, and it's, you know, she just doesn't cause any trouble. But it's nice to see Carlos Torres. Now, because of the quick six inversion, he qualified in the quick six, but he was far enough down in his average finish. He's going to be put on the pole. Now, outside of him is the Season 3 champion of Sam McAleer, and certainly McAleer has the credentials to be somebody to worry about here. On the second row, you're going to have Amjad Yaman, and just outside of Amjad Yaman is Sergio Mora from Portugal. Now, Mora, call him Butter because he's on a roll. He's won the last 2 races, and he seems to be really... What's happened with him is he's always had trouble with his pit stops, and he seems to be able to be getting quicker pit stops now, which is making him more competitive. And then, of course, the third row, those are our 2 guys that are fighting for the championship. Now, Richard Eklund is the points leader, but just ahead of him is Uros Jelenko. So it's going to be interesting to see how those Ayrton, how those top 6 file in when they go down into that first corner.
Yep, and it looks like the grid is setting up right now, so I'm going to start off, if you don't mind, Bill. Carlos Torres, as you said, it's going to start on first, and then Sam McAleer alongside him, Amjad Yaman in third, and then Sergio Mora in fourth, Uros Jelenko in fifth, then Richard Eklund points later in sixth. Eric Garcia is going to line up in seventh, then Marcelo Pajan in eighth, Benjamin Nelson's going to be in ninth, and then Stefano Overgaard in 10th.
I think we have time to do all of these here. Deuce Allen is in 11th, followed by Benjamin Lanowit. Dries Nice is in the Baker's Dozen spot. Billy Bob Wright in 14th. Dexter Castro, Mihai Masison, Daniel Kent in 17th. Al Heaton in 18th. 19th, Yanni Tulianen. 20th is Trip Smith in the beautiful Moose Mobile car. Jeroen Ursum is in 21st, and rounding out the field, is there more than that? No, it's Showdown Malone in 22nd, and Joseph Aro rounds out the 23 cars on the grid. The drivers are mostly on the grid now, and we're waiting for the green flag. The lights are up. Drivers are revving their engine, and away they go. Everyone gets a clean start. Torres jumping out to a nice lead. Looks like he's going to be able to hold it there, but watch out for Amjad Yaman, is making a move on Sam McAleer for second as they go side by side into turn 1. Nope. Amjad Yaman's going to follow into third position. Oh, a battle there is Eklund now making a move on Jelenko for fifth position with Mora right there. There's going 3 wide in the back for fourth, fifth, and sixth. Mora on the inside now as they go, and Jelenko has the inside as they start through the S's. Side by side is Jelenko and Mora, and here comes Eklund poking his nose inside. Fourth, fifth, and sixth, very close. Eklund is very close to Mora.
Ooh,
they almost touch. Mora has to get away from Eklund, and then he gets into the back of Jelenko. Woo, that's a lot of aggressive driving from those 3 guys. Eklund must be thinking, he must be looking ahead and seeing Jelenko pulling away, but there's plenty of time. These guys are very involved. Look at Eklund is right behind Mora now as we have a long screen as you see them going around the cutoff there, and now they're coming down the straight as you can see on the line. All the cars look to be... How are they clean in the back there?
Yeah, everyone managed to get through, but this battle for fourth is still going on. Sergio Mora decided to go defensive as Eklund got a run out of that final corner. Eklund to the outside of turn 1. He might be able to hold it as it's a double. Oh, actually, there's a spin in front of him. McAleer actually
is
blew up his
smoking,
engine,
yeah.
him down.
Oh, Sam McAleer, as he blew his engine running in second place. That's so sad. It must have been, a downshift there going into second gear. Is the only thing I could think that he would... Then he must have missed a gear,
well,
maybe got it into first, perhaps.
You shift down once going into turn 1, then you shift down again between 1 and 2, and he might have skipped a gear or something like that. And blew his engine. Such a depressing start to the race.
And Sam was here for a long time in practice. He had been almost here the full practice time, putting in those times. You know, you don't lose any money. You don't have to pay for repairs. You don't have to pay for hospital bills, but you do invest time. And that's something that sim racing, it's still disappointing when you've invested all that time and it still doesn't work out for you.
Looks like Dexter Castro actually did not start in the grid. He started from the pit lane, so maybe he missed the grid or something like that.
You never know what's going in the head of Dexter. He's always got something up his sleeve there. So we'll keep an eye on him as he makes his way through. Let's go ahead and set the field from the top now. We have Carlos Torres in first place, comfortably out ahead of Amjad Yaman with Sam McAleer blowing an engine. So Yaman moves into second place. Second in the points is Yuris Jelenko running in third right now. And then Richard Eklund has gotten around Sergio Mora. So Eklund's running in fourth. He's got around Mora. And then rounding out, Mora's in fifth. And then right behind Mora is the top rookie that we have, Marcello Fajan from Italy. It's great to see Marcello back in the series after missing a race or two.
Yeah, and we also have our John Allen, who's been known for having instant at the beginning of the race. He's looking pretty good in that 7th place at the moment, managing to keep it clean through the first few laps.
What a great scene on camera there. You see those cars all single file. There's somebody poking their nose out around that yellow car. That looked like it might have been, not many yellow cars, that might have been Benjamin Nelson there. There's John Deuce Allen on the screen in that beautiful blue mountaintop cabin rental cars, one of our sponsors, running in 7th. And yeah, it's nice to see John. Once he gets through the first lap jitters, those gremlins that get him, he's a force to be reckoned with. So we'll see how he makes his way up. Right now, you're looking at Benjamin Lanowet, our 3-time Ironman champion. You see him in that Lano Wet. It's a paint scheme that he has, and you're on board with him now. Ahead of him is Billy Bob Wright in the X-Lax car, the blue and white X-Lax car. Lanowet closing in. You can see the Ferris wheel there on the left-hand side as they come down the main straight. Very, very short track here, Ayrton. It's like they come down this main straight, go through the S's, get to the cutoff, and then they do it all again.
Yeah, and that's what's gonna keep this whole pack together, because the S's, everyone's going through there at similar speeds, and then you've got that long straight to pull people in if they fall back, because you've got that nice draft. So definitely this mid-pack battle is probably going to be going on for a while, and even at the front, they've all stayed fairly close in the first 5 laps of the race.
Yeah, and so far, very clean racing. We haven't really seen anybody, if I look at the charts here, see if anybody who might be having trouble. No, it looks like everybody's out there other than the sadness that happened to McAleer. And there you're looking at Dries Nice ahead of, I'm going to think that's Benjamin Nelson in that yellow car there, and the Overgaard in the blue and white car behind him. A nice 3-car battle. Oh, Dexter Castro is on the side of the road there. Let's see what happened to Dexter. We have it on replay. You see him in that kind of multicolored, lime-colored car. There he is going through the S's.
Yeah, he gets
seems
to
fine.
The penultimate corner.
Oh,
just skims the dirt on the outside.
Got on the dirt there on the little cutoff there and caught the. He just got out of the way of the leaders who went by him. Oh, Dexter kept it in pit lane. We're watching on the replay right now. Nice job from Mr. Castro there. He backs it up. He's got to let everybody go by. We're still watching as the entire field passes him. He has no way to get back out there. His car isn't damaged, and he just has to sit there. Well, now you can go, Dexter. And there he. Come on, get it in gear. Oh, he waits one more. Hey, let's give a tip of the cap to Dexter. That's what you That's what you do if you get in trouble. Ayrton, he was sitting there. He let everybody go by. Well, there's another driver whose chances for victory will be checked off.
I think starting from pit lane, I might have heard him as well.
Yeah, that's maybe we'll be able to talk to him, see what happened there on that. Meanwhile, back at the front, if you keep an eye there, as Carlos Torres is being reeled in like a fish on the line by Amjad Yaman. Torres going through the S's now. Yaman right behind him. Yaman's in a hurry. He doesn't want to wait because he's got Yuris Jelenko back there as well. Really hard to pass through the S's, though, isn't it, Amjad? Or Ayrton?
Yeah, and that's definitely when the pit stops are going to come into play. If Yaman, as we know him as the doctor, is as good as pit stops as always, if he can just stick on back of Carlos Torres, he'll be able to might be able to get ahead in that pit stop. So that might be the chance that he can get. And that's also why I think that taking tires for Yuris Jelenko might not be the best of plans, because you don't want to cost time in the pit lane if it's so difficult to pass, if position means more than actual speed around the track.
Yeah, and we're on board now with Yuris Jelenko. You know, Jelenko had a victory already this season at Mount Panorama at Bathurst, as we stay on board with him. You know, it's not surprising he did well there. He closes up on Amjad Yaman. Not surprising he did so well on that mountainous track, because he hails from Slovenia, and of course that's a beautiful and mountainous country there. He's probably made him feel right at home. Slovenia also known for their contribution to the world in the way of mooseberries, which is important in the an important ingredient in rocket fuel. Little trivial fact to everybody. Yeah, mooseberries.
Well,
There you go. We like to inform and both educate and entertain.
chemistry lessons from Bill. Looks like there's actually a battle with Dries Nice at the moment. He's in the battle with that's Benjamin Nelson, Stefan Overgaard, Benjamin Lanoret as well is a little behind them.
Oh, we have a spin. It's the blue car of Daniel Kent. Daniel Kent got turned around, and he's back out on the track right now. We'll see if we can get that on replay. There you see Kent in the blue car. That's a beautiful paint job there in that fluorescent blue, unless it's purple.
Green.
Okay, it's blue. There we go. And we're watching him there, and I know he spins because I saw it. It's going to be coming up here any second.
Yeah, it looks
just
like Matt Malone had contact with him.
Here we go. We're still watching. We're waiting for the spin. We know it. We know it happens. I've seen it. We got to it so quick that we're going to get a long time, and I guess we're not going to see it.
Well,
Okay.
back to live. Richard Eklund actually just managed to get around Jelinko for that third place position through the final corner.
There, we're looking at a replay now, and there goes Eklund. You can see him. That's an interesting place to make that move as they go side by side. Eklund going to try to get in on the inside there as they go through the little crossover corners. They go down the main street, and Eklund now moves into third place ahead of Jelinko.
Yeah, he pulled an over-under. It looked like Jelinko actually got held up a little bit from Amjad Yaman, and that caused him to lose some time. Eklund got on the outside, then shot to the inside through that final corner. So good pass from him. Now he has two more to get for that first place position. I mean, that's a big pass there for Jelinko, who's the one that he's battling for in the championship.
I'd like to apologize for not having that spin that we talked about with Daniel Kent. I have a new button here that rewinds to an incident, and it rewound, and it apparently was just too far back, and we couldn't catch it. I wasn't aware of how long it happened, so we apologize. But at least we got Daniel Kent a little screen time there. We don't see much from him. You know, Kent was on the... I think Daniel Kent was one of the rookies who was on the pole. We have a pass.
Torres makes a mistake in the lead. That allows Amjad Yaman. He didn't quite get on the inside, but he definitely closed the gap there.
We saw somebody who had it might have been, I have a car right here now spinning, it might have been Yanni Tulianen that I see had incidents on the main straight. He kind of looped it. We'll see if we can get this, of course. All right, apparently we have this one here as we're watching Yanni Tulianen. Yanni is the brother of, his older brother is Timo Tulianen, who has a couple wins under his belt in this series. There you see he got off on the grass and he looped it, he overcorrected and put it into the tires, into that kind of soft wall there, it looks like. And then he exited out. No, but yeah, so we're not sure if he continued or not. He got going again. Tulianen is on the track right now.
Well, this battle at the front of the top four is still very close. Actually, it's closed in a little bit more now, as Torres looks to be holding them up a little bit. Amjad Yaman right on the rear of him as they're starting the S's, and Eklund right on the rear of Yaman. Jelinko's fallen back a little bit, but these top three still very close.
Yeah, as we're seeing it now from a far camera, there's really four in a row. Torres, Yaman.
Oh, Eklund making a move. Yaman decides to close the door. As Eklund does the crossover, he's trying to get to the inside through the final corner. He's going to get both Yaman and Torres. As Torres actually went wide on the outside, he's in the dirt again. He's actually going to spin it. Manages to save it, but he lost 3 positions there. And now Yaman's on the inside of Jelinko as they're heading down in turn 1. Jelinko on the outside got a better run out of that final corner. Yaman's going to lose 2 positions as well as Torres, as Jelinko going a little wide. Yaman might be able to keep that inside as they're still side by side. Will he be able to clear him before the S's? Look like Jelinko still has a good enough run, so they're going to go side by side as they enter the S's. Jelinko on the inside. Now Yaman's going to have the inside for the next part. So difficult to pass here. It looks like Jelinko might clear him from the next section. He's going to have the inside. Going to get that position, but they lost a little bit of time from Eklund.
Oh, they were side by side longer than a pair of Cialis bathtubs there. My God, that was great racing by those guys. But meanwhile, all that battling has let our points leader, Richard Eklund, in that blue and yellow Tampex car get away. But Jelenko has followed into second place, and he has the pace to see if he can run him down. You know what was interesting is Torres is off, and we see now that John Allen is going in the pits. I'm not sure if he wanted to go into the pits or if he had a mistake. I think he got loose and it kind of put him in the pits by himself. Let's see. I could just barely see it on the screen.
I think he wanted to go in there, but went a little too fast, almost hit that wall. But that's, our first pit stopper of the top 10. So
we're on board.
Our benchmark.
We're on board with John Allen right now. As you see him coming around. He's got a ways to go before he gets to pit lane. It's coming up here on the right-hand side. Yep. Oh, excuse me for sneezing there. I was so excited. Yeah, he missed the pit lane. Oh, and he almost caught the barrier there. He just got it inside.
I'm a little concerned what happened to Sergio Mora, because he was actually our second fastest qualifier, but he's now all the way down to 6th place at this point, and he's been making multiple mistakes recently, as ahead of him, Marcello Pajan actually goes into pit lane, but Sergio Mora, even the last lap, he went too wide on the exit of turn 2, so it just seems like he's making a lot of mistakes. He's dropped down a little bit, like, since the beginning of the race where he was battling with the leaders.
Yeah, actually, John Allen got around him before he came into the pit stop, so it's unusual for Sergio to be struggling like this. Sometimes you just lose your rhythm. We're hearing reports that Jelenko has a little bit of damage there. Now, we remember he was in that tight battle earlier. There might have been a little damage that he picked up when those guys were dogfighting.
Well, yeah, on the first lap or second lap, I think Mora hit the rear of him a little bit through the penultimate corner. I don't know if that was it or if there's another incident.
We're hearing it's on the right rear of the car, which puts our CSI team, would make sense that those guys would get together. What a great shot they were looking at there. You see Eklund coming down the straight. There's Jelenko behind him, and Amjad Yaman right hanging in there in 3rd place. You know, Eklund made that pass there. He made it at the perfect time. He had an over-under that he could make on Jelenko at the same time, or on Yaman, and at the same time Torres went off on the grass, so it kind of just was a perfect storm for him to go from 3rd to 1st.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a great pass as well. Perfect over-under. Yaman was trying to prevent it. You could just tell he was squeezing him so much to that final corner, and Eklund managed to hold it and get that, and yeah, definitely good luck that Torres, or bad luck for Torres, but good luck for Eklund that he went off at that section.
There we're looking at a battle between Benjamin Lanowet in that dark-colored car and then Eric Garcia, the California driver, in that charcoal blondie's car. That's a battle there. Garcia is running in 8th place. That's a battle for 8th. And then a nice job you can see ahead of him. A nice job. We see that yellow car up there. I'm pretty sure that's Benjamin Nelson, running in the top 10, running in 7th. Nice to see him doing so well.
Yeah, and it's good to see these shorter tracks attract smaller fields, and sometimes that's not great, but for these guys who are normally in the mid-pack, even these 4, they're normally just battling to get into the top 10. But right now, Drees Nice, he's in 6th place, so definitely a good chance for these guys to rack up some points.
Now our leader Eklund is just about to catch our tail end of the lead lap car, which is
Sasson.
Mihai Masison, yeah, in the, I'm going to call it the Romanian colored car there, the Romanian flag, red, yellow, and blue car. Now, Mihai's a veteran. He'll know how to get out of the way. And this track is kind of wide. I don't think it'll really be a problem. If they catch you through the S's, it could be an ordeal. You see there the distance between Masison in that red, yellow, and blue car, and there's Eklund in the blue and yellow Tampax car. The speed difference is probably enough where I think Eklund will probably get there the next lap. Eklund's got to put a little bit of distance between him and Yaman.
We actually had a crash. Trip Smith on the outside of turn 2. Actually, it wasn't turn 2. It was the S's. He went off track right into the wall.
It looked like almost like an equipment failure there.
Yeah.
We're going to see it right now. Everything's fine, and then he just goes straight as if the wheel froze.
Sometimes drivers get black screens where their screen will just turn off, and then they have no choice but just to go straight, right?
Yep. Our director's saying maybe we've had so many incidents where the UPS guy comes to the door and you got to get it, or who knows, maybe he was racing without pants on and his girlfriend walked in. I don't know. We don't want to. We don't want to speculate, do we? I always race with pants. That's my personal policy. No shoes, though. I race in socks. Ayrton, what are you racing? Shoes or socks? Barefoot?
Shoes. Yeah, I can't do socks. They just slip all over the pedals. But it looks like actually Sergio Morris caught up to Torres for that 4th place. Torres making some more mistakes, allowing Moore to catch back up. Right on the rear of him. Just going through the S's now.
Remember, even though Torres started on the pole, he wasn't as fast as Mora in qualifying, because the quicks got inverted there. And we're on board with Mora. Torres in that brown Colombian coffee car.
Eklund's going to get by Mihai Misesen, who moves over on the front stretch.
So there's our car going, the first car going a lap down. Yes, it's naturally a lap down. One of the things I've always liked to do is, as a card-carrying member of Backmarkers United, I've always found it a good time to go in the pits. If I'm in the pit window and they get those leaders coming up to me, you dash into the pits. But the only problem is you end up coming out. The way fate is, you end up going in the pits and coming out right ahead of them anyway.
Looks like Yaman has actually lost a little bit of position to Eklund Zelenko, who's actually closed in a little bit on Eklund.
Yaman is just under 2 seconds back of that would be Zelenko there. As you can see on screen, he is losing a little bit of ground. There's the lap car of Mihai Misesen there, that red, blue, and yellow car in between, behind the first 3. There we go. The camera stays right on Yaman in the Child's Play car. It's a nice charity that he's been racing for a long time. They give toys to needy children. And again, we're going to go back to this battle for 8th position with Lanouette and Garcia. It's been this way for a while. In fact, those 2 cars ahead of him there is Benjamin Nelson. Or, I'm sorry, it's Benjamin, a different Benjamin. Benjamin Nelson, that's right. Benjamin Lanouette, Benjamin Nelson. And then the car right ahead of them is Dries Nice. So that's
all this battle for 6th place.
Yeah. Lanouette sits in 9th, and Garcia ahead of him in 8th. 7th for Benjamin Nelson. Now, Benjamin Nelson has really picked up the pace. When he first started, it was earlier this season, he was struggling, but now he's having good races. His no longer a back marker, certainly would be classified as a mid-packer, I think, if we wanted to stereotype people.
Yep. And well, it looks like we're about... Go ahead.
And then Dries Nice. You never know what you're going to get with Dries Nice. Sometimes he's really fast, sometimes he's not so fast. I think a lot of these tracks are new to him, so it depends how much practice time he gets in.
Sergio Moore is into the pits, our first driver in the top 5. It's about halfway through the race, 22 laps of 43.
We were talking of Moore last race. Sometimes he has horrible pit stops and maybe needing to get some of those. He's a physical ed teacher in Portugal, and maybe get some of those math nerds who don't like to climb the rope, maybe to help him out calculating fuel mileage. But as we said that, he had a great pit stop, and he's done it again now. He's jumped Deuce Allen.
And Pajan, who are both ahead of him.
I'm glad to see he's got that pit strategy down. You know, it's hard to say. Sometimes iRacing has the random filling of the fuel, and depends how quickly that fuels. Sometimes it fills faster for others than yourselves.
I think he's made the mistake of forgetting to change his fuel more than any other driver. He always puts in a full tank when he doesn't need to. So
now, we've done this long enough. That's the guy we're going to have to keep an eye on. Is he's the top driver of everybody who has pitted, although he was pretty far behind when the pit cycle started.
Yeah, he was with Carlos Torres, who is about 8 seconds from the leader at this point.
Our Twitter is blowing up. Apparently, I was wrong about mooseberries. They are not from Slovenia. They are from Potsylvania, which is the fictitious country hometown of Boris and Natasha of Rocky and Bullwinkle fame. So I apologize for disseminating any misinformation about mooseberries and getting Slovenia and Potsylvania confused. Currently looking at Benjamin Lanawood as that battle continues.
So I guess I was wrong about the keys to the race lap traffic coming into effect, because I feel like there hasn't been any besides the season for the leader so far this race. Looks like the lap times between people are close enough that the leaders don't catch them as quickly.
No, but I think after we get through a few more laps and when this pit cycle comes into play, I think it's going to be an issue when we're looking for the last few laps. It's going to be interesting to see if these lapped cars will get out of the way as Jelenko now. We might jump up to lead. Jelenko has really closed in on Eklund.
He's just under half a second behind at this point. And he's got the draft to help him as well. They've both pulled away from Amjad Yaman, who's already dropped down to about 2.5 seconds back. He's lost a lot of time in the past couple laps.
There you see Eklund in the lead. Season 6 champion. You know, a lot of drivers and fans and pundits are worried about Eklund if he wins another championship of getting too much success too early. He's just turned 21. You know, we were talking about movies. Orson Welles made Citizen Kane at 25 and spent the rest of his life trying to duplicate that accomplishment. And you'd worry about Eklund as here comes Jelenko making a move. Nope, he's just gonna peek in. You worry about Eklund getting too much success too early in his life. You'd hate to see him have his first child and say, "Congratulations, Richard, on your first child." You say, "Yeah, that's great, but I won my second MX-5 World Tour when I was 21." So, do you worry about that, Amjad or Erden, about getting too much accomplished early?
Well, he'll have to get something accomplished if he wants to beat Koumans and race wins.
That's right.
Looks like
Koumans had most of his success when he was in his 30s. So,
yeah.
Look at Jelenko really pestering now Eklund.
We don't have to leave this battle, but Amjad Yaman is heading to the pits at this point.
Okay, it'll be interesting to see. We'll keep an eye on that and see how he fares in relationship to Mora.
Yaman's actually taken left side tires where Mora did not.
We'll see if we can find Mora right now. We'll leave this battle. We'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on it and see if we can find... There's Amjad coming out of the pits right now. The battle for the lead is still holding steady. Yeah, Amjad's way out, going to slot ahead of Morris. So I think when the pit cycle's done now, he's going to be in third. He's Amjad Yaman now, our top driver of all the drivers who have pitted. We're back on screen. There's your leaders again. Mora and Jelenko. 1-2 in the standings. 1-2 on your screen. I'm sorry, Eklund and Jelenko. I apologize.
Torres.
Go ahead.
Torres is in third at this point after Yaman has pitted. He's still about 9 seconds back from the leader, so still losing time. It looks like these two guys, Eklund and Jelenko, seem to have quite a lot of speed over everyone else.
Uh-oh, I heard a crash somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Looks like it is Al Heaton. Al Heaton got put in the wall. We're going to replay right now.
Looks like actually contact from Marcello Pajan.
See Al Heaton, and I don't know what color that is, that kind of green camouflage color car. Okay, green car. And then right behind him is the rookie Marcello Pajan. You see him going to the outside, and he just tries to go underneath Heaton, and he puts him in the wall.
Yeah, had a little contact with John Allen as well behind him. It's not going to be good for IRT.
No. So Heaton is in the pits right now. We go back to our leaders, and it's still Eklund and Jelenko, 1-2. We're hearing Alan, and it looks like Alan, as we're watching him right there, he's missed the 8. It doesn't look like he went a little wide. I don't know if he's having trouble. We have reports of damage on the front of that car.
Well, he hit Pujan in the rear when Pujan got checked up from Heaton.
Ah.
I don't know if it'll affect his speed that much. But yeah, he's not looking as fast as he was before.
Yeah.
And now both these guys, they've lost time to Mora, who they're just behind when Mora came out of the pits.
Meanwhile, our leaders are staying out. So, Ayrton, I think since they're running such a long stint, I just don't see how taking tires like Jelenko would like to do would be that effective now. Maybe.
I mean, I don't think I've seen a race where Jelenko hasn't taken left or right side tires, and especially on this track. I didn't say at the beginning of the race, but now that I think about it, I mean, it's mostly left turns except for a couple of, like, 2 of the S's, so especially in that 1-2 complex in the final corner, having those left side tires will really help getting through those faster and could probably be what it takes to get past Eklund.
What might be the most important thing would be the order of their pit boxes. I always like to be behind the guy I'm chasing so I can keep an eye on him. When I see him go, I know it's time for me to go. I think
Jelenko's ahead.
Jelenko has the pit box ahead, so...
Yeah.
Oh, I heard another crash here. Let's see if we can... No, I can't find it. I heard a little accident somewhere there, but everybody seems to be okay.
Might have been a little bit of car contact.
There, we're looking at a battle now between John Deuce Allen there and Marcello Pujan. Marcello missed a couple races, the Italian driver. Got a little unhappy with some of the things that were going on. Had a little issues with a few drivers and needed to take a few races off, get his head clear. It's great to see him back. He's our top rookie. Had a little trouble, though. It's too bad with Kent. We'll have to see how the IRT comes out on that one. Often what you see on the replay, once you start looking at it closer, is not always
our leader's
the case.
in the pits. Jelenko decides to stay out as Eklund heads in.
Now, this is interesting. You know, Jelenko might feel, since he was chasing Eklund, he might feel that he might have been faster. Maybe he's going to try to get one hot lap in. I wonder, Aaron, maybe you can comment on this. What do you think is a faster lap? One lap on these worn tires? Well, they're going to be worn anyway because I doubt if Eklund's going to change tires.
Yeah, he's taking left side.
Okay, so he's taking left side. So the question is Jelenko going to be faster on these worn tires than Eklund's going to be on one lap with new left sides?
I don't think, to be honest, I don't think Jelenko had much of a choice because that pit entry is right off the exit of the final corner, and you don't want to be trying to, if he, I mean, it takes a while to notice if Eklund's heading in, so if he tried to follow Eklund in and hit that wall, that would have been a little dangerous. He actually heads into pit right now.
And we can't say that Eklund came out ahead of Amjad Yaman, but not by that much. Yaman has him, maybe a second back.
Yeah.
Okay, and now our leader is in, so this is where, this could be the race right here because it's so hard to pit. It's whether Jelenko can get in and out before Eklund makes it all the way around. We're on Eklund right now. You see him going through the S's, and there's Jelenko coming into his pit stall.
And just a heads up, Mora actually managed to beat Carlos Torres out. He actually came out side by side, but managed to get the position, so he gains position through the pit cycle. A long 1-2. Looks like Jelenko's coming out of his pit stall right now.
And here comes Eklund just crossing the start-finish line. This is going to be close. We can see them both on camera. There's Jelenko coming out of the pit lane. He's going to be close, but Eklund's going to have the momentum.
Did Jelenko take tires?
I can go back and check right now. We want to see if he took tires because that'll be important to know.
No, he didn't.
That's unusual. He did not take tires.
And Eklund did. That is unusual. He normally does. He's normally one of the few that does.
Well, our last driver to pit, I'm not sure if he's come in yet. He's coming in right now. Let's give him a little screen time. Dries Nice, we haven't seen him. He pits from the lead. I don't think he might have got to lead a lap. We'll have to check later. I'm sure he did. He's coming in for the pits right now. So that's the last car that has yet. Well, Garcia has yet to pit. We're hearing that Eklund was a second behind Jelenko in pits time, but he came out about the same distance. So a lot of times, the actual time we get in the pits is how long they're actually in their stall, but it's the in and out lap that can make the difference.
Yeah. Well, actually, I see a little bit of smoke. Looks like Matt Malone had a spin coming out of the turn 2 right there.
Yeah, Malone is slow.
Going back to Jelenko, you mentioned him trying to see if he can get that fast lap once Eklund headed to the pits. Maybe he just had a pretty bad lap, and that actually cost him that little bit of time.
We have the replay there of Malone squeezing in just inside of looked like Billy Bob right there, got around him. Malone having a nice rookie season, running behind Marcello Pajan for Rookie of the Season. Earlier, the top names, Dakota Dickerson is no longer really part of that formula, and Kyle Potts we haven't seen for a while. So Matt, showdown Malone.
Joseph Arrow is our last man on the lead lap that went into pit. He almost led a lap, not quite. Eklund passed him as he went into pit lane. So now everyone has pitted. All positions are correct. Looks like there's a good battle for 4th place going on. Sergio Moore trying to fend off Carlos Torres at this point. So heading through turn 2. Carlos Torres actually gets to run as Moore goes off the track. He's going to get the position as they head into the S's.
Yeah, there's Moore making another mistake. This has really been a mistake-plagued race for Moore. We've seen him at least 3 times that I can count that he's had issues. A lot of times it's costing him positions.
And that's just on screen.
We were talking about the rookies there as we were looking at Showdown Malone. Early in the season when the rookie crop was planted, there was a lot of optimism. But, as the frost gets on the pumpkins, there's really not much to show at harvest for that rookie class. Sometimes what you think you're going to have and what you end up at the end of the season is not always the same. There we have we're looking down we've switched now to Lanowit and Garcia. Those guys have been going at it all race long, and it's Garcia still ahead of Lanowit.
Yeah, both these guys are very consistent drivers. As you said, Lanowit, that Ironman champion, and Garcia, also a veteran of the series.
Lanowit has been looking back at that Blondie's emblem on the back of Garcia's car for near 35, 40 minutes now. They were on board, as you can see. As they go through the S's, look as they go through here, and now there's this left-hander, and you're seeing up ahead of Garcia. They come around, there's a couple more corners to do in these S's. There's a right-hander, and these are pretty fast corners. We'll stay on this for a second, and we'll see where they go to the crossover. Now, they come up. Now, on the Grand Prix circuit, you would just go straight. You're full speed here, but there you can see the yellow cones, and they have to go to this cutoff section that cuts off the best part of the track. They come around to the Ferris wheel. Hello, everybody on the Ferris wheel, and they're back. That's pretty much a lap here. It's fast.
Yeah, and we only have about 8 laps to go of the race, too, so laps about 8 minutes.
Well, with 8 minutes to go, Director Joe Peak, you know what that means. We got to get in a quick, Ayrton, if you keep an eye on anything exciting while I try to get in the last call, brought to you by Blondie's Bar in Long Beach. And there you're still looking at, we see our little last car lemon there, we're still looking at Lanowit and Garcia. And those guys are running in 11th and 12th there. Lanowit running in 11th. Director, which way are we going to go from Benjamin Lanowit? Let's see which way he takes. We're going to let the director call the shots here, and I'll just follow along with him. We go back to that yellow car there is Dexter Castro. So yellow and green, pink, I don't know what color it is. There's lots of colors there, running in 19th position. Let's go one up from there. Dexter, of course, started in pit lane and then had early trouble. Now we're looking at Yanni Tullier and one of our sponsors there, the Eagle Nest Cavern car. There's a nice look at him, running in 18th place. One spot up from him is 17th of Juran Ursum in the Blondie's car. In the pink Barbie's car. Blondie's is also a pink scheme there. I got confused. He races that for a 6-year-old daughter. One spot ahead, within sight, in the X-Lax car, Billy Bob Wright in that blue and white car, running in 16th position. One spot ahead from Billy Bob Wright, running in 15th, is that dark blue car of Daniel Kent, as you see him going around Mihai Massis in their lapped car. Daniel Kent had early trouble. There's Misa. Oh, that was first position. There we go. So, Masisa now in 15th and Kent in 14th. It's nice to get that on camera there. one spot ahead, and I think that's going to put us right back up to Joseph Aro, who almost led a lap but had to come in just before, or actually Richard Eklund got around him just before he led that wrap, moving up to the 12th position. That puts us back to Dries Nys, who we saw having a great race earlier, made a late pit stop, and then that gets us back up to 11th and 10th, and I think that's going to be the guys that we started with, Benjamin Lanowit in 11th, and the Blondie's car of Eric Garcia. You know, let's keep going. We can finish this real quick. Let's go up to 9th. Keep an eye on those leaders. We haven't heard much from Benjamin Nelson. Having a nice race in that yellow auto parts car. Up to 8th position is, as our director's going to find it for me, there we go, the Flying Smurf, Stefan Overgaard, having a quiet race in 8th, not causing much trouble. Up to 7th position is Marcello Pajan. We saw him running, coming back after a couple weeks off, had a little issue with Kent, doing well. 6th position, John Deuce Allen. And then that gets us to our top 5, where we go to Sergio Mora. We know that he's had some issues, been off the track several times, could be higher for that. 4th place, of course, is Carlos Torres. And then that gets us up to our top 3, which is Amjad the Dr. Yaman. 2nd position, Yuris Jelenko. And leading the way, Richard Eklund. And there you have not only the last call, but the entire field, brought to you by Blondie's Bar in Long Beach. Blondie's Bar, the place to be. Whew!
I think the most interesting battle right now is actually, it's not very close at the moment. For the battle for 4th place, Carlos Torres, not far behind him is Mora, and not far behind him is Allen, and then also Bajan behind him as well. Also Overgaard a little sneaking into that battle as well. They're not close, but I feel like any of these guys, if they make a mistake, and we've seen Torres and Mora making a lot of mistakes this race, it can cause quite a hectic checkup.
Yeah, everybody, as I'm scrolling through the top 9, 10, really everyone is a nice distance apart. The real battle, and the one we're going to have to stay on because it's the only one that's really fighting, is that Lanowit Garcia battle. And it's been going on really since we touched it early in the race. They both made their pit stop. They came out the same.
Nelson ahead of them actually made a mistake in that final corner. He's going to lose position to both of them.
There's you see as Nelson is going to lose 1, maybe 2 positions there. And Eklund, as we're watching this, let's keep you informed of what's going up in front. Eklund is really pulling away from Jelenko. And there you see Nelson now tucking into 11th position. That moves Garcia up into 10th spot. Am I correct? No, Lanowit in 10th, and now Garcia up into 9th. So there's a look from Benjamin Nelson in his yellow car. As again, they go through those S's, and we've talked about this before. They're going to make that cutoff move here in a second. They continue through the S's. Now they have this right-hander, and then they have to go, and it's kind of hard to find because it's not easy to see the apex here as they come up, and now you hit the brakes, and you duck in, the track goes away to the left, and you come around.
Well, looks like Lanowit got a good run out of that.
Pit lane, and there's Lanowit. Yeah, he looks like he has maybe a little momentum on the outside. Nope, not going to do it.
Yeah, it's one of those double apex corners. It's hard to tell whether the driver has got a good run. It looked like he had one, but then Eric Garcia, he hit that second apex and got a really good one. It looks like Overgaard actually trying to make move on Allen going into turn 1. Had to back out of it, but definitely this battle is closed up as well.
Yeah, Overgaard has closed the distance on Deuce.
That's
Deuce
for
running in 7th. Yeah, 7th and 8th.
I think they're having a battle with Bajan because it showed Allen ahead at the line, but Bajan's in front of them now, so maybe it was like a 2 wide going to turn 1, then Overgaard trying to make something out of it as well.
If you'll notice on the number plates, you'll see that these number plates have different colored number plates. That's what squad they're racing in. There's an interesting thing that we do as squad racing director. If you can bring up that squad real quickly, you can see there that the orange team of High Five Association is leading the way, and there's a lottery at the end of the season. You see that Derek Holland is leading the way with what is that? It looks like about 20% chance to win the lottery. You can take that down now, director. It's kind of blocking the way, but that's kind of the lottery is kind of a combination between the Ironman, how well you're doing in the Ironman, and how well your squad is doing. So it's kind of another little thing they have to keep it interesting as we're watching that battle now still. And it looks like, is that a lapped car they've come up behind there?
No, Allen's on Bajan right in the
Bajan.
rear. Bajan looks very slow at the moment.
Yeah, there's Pajan in the...
Maybe he's trying to save fuel or something like that. Looks like Allen's going to go on the outside of him, inside for the next corner. Overguard goes on ahead as well. I'm wondering if Pajan might have short-fueled it, as Overguard makes a little bit of a mistake going into that corner. Doesn't get the position taken away from it. Yeah, I think Pajan's struggling. Maybe he realized he short-fueled it and trying to save gas.
He certainly didn't put up the kind of fight that he's noted for. Yeah, that looked like almost a surrender. And now he's got to worry about, if you can see back behind him, is that's that battle that we've been watching to see if they can close up there of Lanawood and Garcia and Nelson, see if they can close them in.
Lano actually went to the outside as Garcia went defensive. He's going to get a good run out of turn 2, possibly going into the S's. Doesn't have a good enough one. But you're right, these guys might catch up to Pajan. This is actually the final lap. Should we head to the leader?
Yeah, it's a 45 lap race, so there's still a little bit to go.
I got my math wrong, or maybe someone wrote the wrong number on the script.
Oh, I wouldn't want that to happen. Yeah, it's a nice battle there, as you see. Garcia has really... Lanoet has been behind him the whole time, and in fact has really been... Benjamin Nelson has been ahead of him the whole time, too. He made that mistake. And what's interesting is Nelson made that mistake, and now he can't stay up with him.
Yeah, that is interesting. Looks like Pajan still... He's not as slow as he was before. Before, he was only reaching up to 110 miles per hour at the end of the straight. Now he's back up to 120. Little curious as to what happened.
Meanwhile, the Deuce Allen and Overguard battle has kind of cooled off a little bit. Allen has a comfortable lead. We'll come back to that if it gets closer. What's going to be interesting, and I think it may happen, is I think Garcia may have the pace to run down Pajan. Especially if Lanawood leaves him alone and just lets him run some laps. Oh, I hear somebody's out of gas. Billy Bob Wright has run out of gas.
Oh, he was in a battle for, I think that was 15th as well. Looks like Mihai Messissen and Jeroen Ursum are going to get that from him. Over to Eklund, he's on the last lap, halfway through it as he goes through the S's.
There we are on Eklund right now as we come down to the final lap. Richard Eklund, the Season 6 champion, wasn't considered to be in the running for the Season 9 championship, as there were a lot of tracks to be purchased, but he's decided he's going to make a run for it now. Richard Eklund wins race number 10 of the MX-5 World Tour. Second place is going to go to his nearest rival, Yuris Jelenko. Third place goes to Amjad Yaman. We go back to this battle for the...
Pajan.
There you go, Pajan on the inside. There's Eklund goes, or I'm sorry, Garcia goes.
Contact.
There's contact with Lanawood.
Nelson's going to get it from both of those guys.
And there's Pajan is dead in the water now. As we're watching on replay, as you can see, Pajan was fading, and you're going to see Garcia kind of duck to the, as they're going to split, and there's Pajan. Garcia goes to the inside. Lanawood says, well, I'll try to go to the outside, but the outside becomes the inside, and they make contact. Lanawood misses the wall, and Pajan is stopped there. I'm not sure why he hasn't finished. Didn't look like it got that much damage. Well, and Nelson passes both of them. Well, there's a little bit of excitement. You know, that was bound to happen, Aaron. They had been running so close together for the entire race. It's the couple corners to go. That's what racing is about.
The last lap optimism.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short break right now while we line up interviews. We'll come back and do the point standings. And then, of course, we'll do the live read for your sponsor plug. So we'll be back in just a few. Watch the slideshow for the upcoming races on GSRC while we're gone. Back in a few. Welcome back to GSRC's coverage of the MX-5 World Tour race number 10 from Suzuka. We're going to give you the standings right now. Final standings for the race. Season 6 champion Richard Eklund picks up the victory. His nearest competitor in the points, Uros Jelenko, follows in second. Amjed Yaman, the doctor, in third. Carlos Torres started on the lead lap, on the first front row, and comes in fourth position. Sergio Mora had some issues where he couldn't keep the car on the track, finishes in fifth. That's got to be a disappointing finish for the Portuguese driver. John Deuce Allen has a nice performance in sixth. Stefan Overgaard, a quiet seventh position. We saw a lot of this guy, Eric Garcia, Benjamin Lanowood in eighth and ninth, and rounding out the top 10 is, Lanowood is, let me get this straight here. It's Garcia in eighth. Benjamin Nelson picks up ninth position as he got around Benjamin Lanowood there, who got it tangled up with Pajan. Lanowood gets 10th. Ayrton, take it from 11th.
Okay, Dries Nice was in 11th, then Joseph Arrow in 12th, Daniel Kent in 13th, then Marcello Pajan after that last lap battle in 14th, Mihai Msisen in 15th, then in 16th was Jeroen Ursim, Yanni Tulianen finished in 17th, Dexter Castro in 18th, Bill Wright in 19th, then Matt Malone, who didn't finish the race, finished in 20th, Al Heaton, also retirement in 21st, and Trip Smith and Sam McLear after that blow up on the first lap.
Yeah, disappointing finish for McAleer as he finishes in the tail end spot there is 23rd. Okay, it's time for interviews. We're going to start with Amjed Yaman, and we're going to have Ayrton go ahead and talk to Amjed Yaman. Amjed had a third place finish, so we'll bring him into the booth in just a minute. We're going to bring him in. There we go. Ayrton, see if you can get Amjed there.
Thanks, Bill. Amjed, you here?
Yep.
Well, definitely third place, a good finish for you, considering that you haven't had the best season so far. What were your thoughts on the race?
Hey, that's exactly what I needed. It's another podium. It was pretty simple, other than McAleer in front of me at the start of the race, and then that chaos when Carlos went off. Other than that, it was pretty good. I mean, I can't complain.
I think an interesting story of the race was actually pit stops, because I noticed we all expected Urs Lincoln to take tires. Actually, we expected no one to take tires at first. Then you took tires on your pit stop. So we were like, oh, Urs Lincoln will probably take tires. But then he didn't. But Eklund did. What were your thoughts? Do you think some drivers, do you think it was a better choice to take tires or not?
Well, at the time when I took my pit stop, I was about 2 to 3 seconds behind Urs at the time, and I needed to do something to catch up to him. So I decided to come in early, get 2 tires, hope they work. And they worked for about a lap, and then I was back to where I was, so there's really no advantage this time around.
Well, you got the lap.
Well, 1 lap out of 5 or 6 where I needed to go fast.
yeah. So then your opinion, tires weren't much of an advantage. And we saw that at the end there, Shalenko lost time to Eklund, but you didn't gain that much time on Shalenko by the end there. Do you think Eklund just had the raw pace over everyone else, and the only thing keeping you close was the draft? Do you think the draft was very strong here?
For me, definitely. I mean, I've to use baseball terms, I've got running track power. Enough to hit the ball deep, but not over the barrel park.
Well, definitely a good race. You didn't lead any laps, but third place, you're in the running for a little bit. That pass by Eklund, that was a very good battle that you had there. Really optimistic from Eklund for sure, but definitely a good race, Amjad.
There was nothing wrong with that. It was just good, clean fun, but thanks anyway.
Okay, thanks for talking to us. Back to you, Bill.
I like that. He has warning track power. Maybe, you know what, maybe you can get it inside the Parker. That's one way to get a win. Get a home run that way. Okay, next up, we're going to bring in John Deuce Allen, who had if I look up here, did he finish, I believe, in 6th place, just outside of the top 5. Let's see if we can get John in here. John started in 11th position and had a nice run, got almost inside the top 5 with the 6th place. But I think what's most important for John is that he avoided that early lap problems that he always have. Let's see. John, do you hear me?
I hear you.
Deuce, congratulations. 6th place. You started 11th. That's 5 positions up. But what we're happy about is see you bring it home for once.
Yeah, there were a couple dicey moments. But yeah, just survived the first few laps, as we all know with me. But I had surprisingly a lot better pace in the race than I did in warm-up because the weather changed and the setup kind of came to me. And it was really good in the S's and not as good on the long straight, but that's where you had the draft to make up for it. So it worked out pretty well.
We watched a lot of you racing there. I believe was it more that you got in trouble with, or did you pick up a little damage on your car? Or what was you had a little contact, didn't you?
There was some good fun going on trading paint. I missed a gear in front of Mora on turn 2, and he got into the back of me, and then, but drive on, no problem. And then I got into the back of Marcelo one time. I didn't check up enough for him, and that's what damaged the front. And it did slow me down a little bit because I tried to pass him once on the straight, and he was passing me back by the time we got to turn 1, but I was able to hold it.
And then it looked like Overguard was maybe going to make a run on you, but then you were able to put a little distance there. He was behind you there near the end.
We saw him. He was waiting to pounce for sure. Marcelo and I have run a lot of races together in the official series and very comfortable, in that close quarters. And if Stefan had a move, I would have given him space because I've punted him before in this series and felt bad about it. So thankfully, he never got the chance.
Yeah, well, he had a little trouble there in the last lap. He fell back behind you and then got caught up in another battle between Garcia and Lanowit at the end. It didn't work out so well for him. But let me congratulate you. It's always great to see you bring the Mountaintop Cabin Rentals car home. It's good to see our sponsors get a little screen time. And congratulations. And you're inside the top 10 in the standings, so let's see if you can get a top 10, and you're in the running for most improved this year.
That was my goal from the beginning. So one more clean race, maybe I can wrap that up.
There you go. It's going to be harder next year, though. You're really going to have an improvement if you're going to finish so high. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. We have next, if we can bring him in, we're going to hear from a longtime fan and friend of the series, Dexter Castro. We're going to bring him in. We're going to see if Ayrton can talk to him, find out why Dexter started from the pits. So, Ayrton, let's see. Dexter, you got us?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, Ayrton.
Oh, I'm going to take the words right out of Bill's mouth. Why'd you start from the pits, Dex?
I was having stutters in the warm-up, so I dropped a few graphics settings and went to restart the sim, and apparently I forgot. I clicked the quit button, and I forgot that it was going to ask me if I wanted to save a replay. So I just sat there staring at it, asking me to save a replay for a good minute or so, and then I wound up missing the start before I could get it restarted.
Well, that's definitely a new one for sure. Did you? It looked like you're actually struggling throughout the race. Do you have a little less practice than normal at this track?
Actually, I felt like I had decent pace at this track, but when I did that, it didn't fix the stuttering issue. So I started out almost like 10 seconds short of a full lap down. And then I got another stutter in the final corner and spun right in front of the leaders, gave Amjad a heart attack. But then about 5 or so laps in, the stutters just stopped for some reason, so I'm not sure why. A little worrying, but hopefully it holds out for the Conti race today.
Well, yeah, and what are you thinking, straying a little away from this series, what are you thinking about your thoughts for that race?
Did a bunch of practice last night, and I felt like I had good pace. I was able to match Sonny's time on qualifying fuel, and it should be a good race.
Hey, Dexter, I'm going to take off my announcer's cap and put on my series manager cap for a minute. Hey, thanks for waiting in pit lane there for the entire field to go by before you pulled out on the track. That must have been painful to watch every car go by.
Yeah, I figured I was already a lap down. What's another 20 seconds? Of course, in the end, I finished 4 seconds behind Yanni.
Yeah, that would have given you that position. But man, thanks a lot for coming. It's always great to have you racing with us, and good luck today in the Conti series.
Yep, and my car is green.
All right, thanks, man. Oh, they tease the announcers who has bad rods and cones. It's not my fault. All right, Ayrton, do you have anything to say before I go to these final plugs and get out of here?
Well,
That's
good
good.
race, that's for sure. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, will do. I'm ready. You don't need to fill now. I got what I do. Now, my goal is to get these things read before the song ends. So watch me hustle through this, guys. Everyone pay attention to these because these are important. It's the people that get this thing on the broadcast. We'd like to quickly thank our sponsors, Tidal Influence, an ecological consulting firm based in Long Beach, California. I'm reading it straight today. That restores wetlands, saves and studies endangered species, and educates children about our environment. For more information, go to TidalInfluence.com. Mountaintop Cabin Rentals, your best choice for Green Valley Lake lodging. Green Valley Lake is the best kept secret in the San Bernardino Mountains, even though we talk about it every week. To find out more, visit GVLCabinRentals.com. And while you're there, stop in to Eagle's Nest Tavern for a cold drink and a hot meal. Check out Eagle's Nest Tavern on Facebook. Donnie Trulianian drives that car. Thanks to the company's equipment and software we use on the broadcast, iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, Behringer, and Aber Media. And no thanks, I'm going off script, no thanks to Tensender, my 41 long shot in the Kentucky Derby that failed to even finish in the money. But no worries, because the Preakness is today, and my entire GSRC paycheck is on the 20-1 long shot named, get this, Mr. Z. How can I miss with a horse named Mr. Z? Something that never disappoints, though, is the music of Eric Ekholm, which is not only found here at GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, Spotify. If you like our music, tell Eric where you heard it on Twitter at Eric Ekholm. Additional thanks to Casey Lalonde, who also provides us with the music for our broadcast. You can find more of his music at
Bandcamp.com.
Oh man, you're slowing me down, dude. Okay, the Tidal Influence MX-5 World Tour returns in 2 weeks, May 30th, for the rescheduled Godzilla Mothra doubleheader at Okayama. You don't want to miss that. That's in 2 weeks. But next up for the Global Sim Racing Channel is the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series, race number 4 from Watkin Glen, starting at 3:05 Pacific, and immediately after that is the Bootleg Racing Outlaw Modified Series Round 6, 75 laps of circular excitement from Langley. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at GlobalSimRacingChannel.com, along with archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. Don't forget to send your comments in support of the proposed but yet to be greenlighted series, Global Sim Racing Channel broadcasts great events in history. You won't want to miss episode 6 when the always articulate Kevin Brown from the basket of the GSRC hot air balloon calls the action as the city of Atlantis sinks into the sea and is lost forever. Now that's exciting. That's way better than the Gutenberg printing press we had last time. And now, on behalf of my mic mate, Ayrton Ellis, our director, Joe Peak, Dougie Beard, who provided the camera locations, it's time for us to say, have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.